Hi everyone, sorry I'm out today. For today, we're going to focus on solving for the angle. Yesterday we worried about solving for the side, but we're going to first start off by solving for the side as a warm-up using our trig ratios, using SOHCAHTOA to help us out. Okay, and if you recall yesterday, I had you guys remember a rhyme from that video. And the rhyme goes, if x is up high, you multiply. If x is down low, you switch, So just remember when you're doing this warm-up, remember those rhymes, it'll help you out. Anyways, I'm going to give you about 7 minutes to work on that. And I'm going to tell the sub right now, please stop this recording at this moment and go wait about 7 minutes. It should take you probably less than 7 minutes because if you recall yesterday it was very quick and easy. So anyways, get going on it and we'll go over this in a sec here. Okay, you should be done by now. Your 7 minutes is up. Anyways, if any of you want to come up, show up on the board and make things easier. I'm going to end up showing anyways. But the first thing you want to do is find your reference angle on the picture. And so the reference angle is located at 26 degrees. So there you go, I highlighted it. Okay, and your job right now is to label the sides in relationship to that 26 degrees right now. And so across from the 26 degrees, you should have labeled that x side there should be opposite. So I'm going to put OPP here. Okay, and then you should have noticed that the 5 is next to the 26. Okay, it's not the hypotenuse, so this is adjacent. So you put ADJ there. So now, using my SOHCAHTOA, I should be able to figure it out. So I kind of wrote it up here at the top, but I probably left it on the board. Which one has opposite adjacent? I look at SOHCAHTOA, and I notice that TOA, that means opposite adjacent, that gives me tangent. So right now I'm going to go the tangent of 26 degrees equals, and then so I have to go opposite over adjacent because in the saying SOHCAHTOA, opposite comes first, adjacent comes second. So now I go x over 5. Okay? And so from here, I'm going to have to use my rhymes here to help me figure out how to solve this. And so I notice that x is up high, so I go up to the rhyme I have up here, x is up high, you multiply. So I'm going to take this 5 on bottom, I'm going to put it right in front of the tangent, okay? So that makes it 5 tangent of 26 equals x, okay? So now what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to plug it into my handy dandy calculator here. And when I plug it in, okay, I should go 5 times the tangent of 26, and I enter and I get 2.43, so about 2.4 I'd say is x. Oops, sorry. Go back here, 2.4, sorry I'm being slow here. is up on my thing here? Okay. 0.4, sorry. A little slow there. Anyway, so that's what you get. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go to the next one. Okay. My reference angle on the next one is 57 degrees. And so from 57, I'm going to decide what these sides are compared to 57. So I look across from 57. And so if it's across, it's opposite. Okay. And then I look to here. Now, some of you might say this is adjacent, but if you remember from yesterday, I talked about the side that's across from 90 degrees is labeled as your hypotenuse. Okay. So right now I have an opposite and a hypotenuse. Okay. I'm going to go up to my SOHCAHTOA here, and I'm going to decide what it is. Well, I have an opposite hypotenuse, so the only one with an O and an H in it is SO. So that means I'm working with sine. So I go sine of 57 equals, okay, and then I'm going to go opposite. That's what comes first with SO, okay, so 16 over x, okay. And then if I look at my rhyme up top, I should be able to solve this pretty easily. Well, I notice that x is down low, so I go, if x is down low, you switch, you know. So I'm going to take x and then the sine of 57 and switch them. So that becomes now x equals 16. Oops, let me redo that. 16 over sine of 57. And so when I plug this in on my calculator, I go 16 divided by sine of 57 on my calculator here, and I get 19.07. So I'd say about 19.1 is what x is. Okay, so that's just to refresh your memory what we did yesterday. So just giving you a little refresher, okay? All right, so now I'm going to go to your notes page. And so for today, we're solving for the angle. And so when you solve for the angle, okay, you do some of the same things as we did before for solving for the side. So the first thing is I'm going to look for the reference angle. Now in this case, they don't have an angle measure, but they use x. So I'm going to go on the picture and highlight x as my reference angle. From here, I'm going to have to decide where the sides compared to x. Okay, the angle there. So I'm going to look here. I look at 9 is adjacent. Okay, and then I look at 15. That's my hypotenuse. Okay, and if I look at my SOHCAHTOA saying, okay, I notice that I have an adjacent hypotenuse. So I'm going to look and say, so doesn't have an adjacent. Ca has adjacent and a hypotenuse. So I'm going to use cosine. Okay. So from here, I'm going to say cosine of x equals, okay, and it says adjacent comes first and then hypotenuse. So 9 over 15. Okay. Now we have a problem. X is in a different spot. We cannot move x out of there. So this is what we do. Okay. In the past, in order to get rid of something, we multiplied something by its reciprocal. Okay, so if you have something in the numerator, you multiply it by the denominator, and it gets rid of that thing in the numerator. So I'm going to multiply by what I call the reciprocal, also known as the inverse, we call it. So I'm going to multiply this by 1 over the cosine, multiply this, times 1 over the cosine. Okay? Now, if you know anything about exponents, okay, anything in the denominator, okay, becomes a number raised to the -1 power. Okay, so I'm going to erase this, okay, right now. And you're going to see this is the same thing as writing 1 over cosine. So this is multiplied times cosine to the -1 power. Okay, I'm going to erase it over here as well and change it actually into cosine to the -1 power. Okay, so what happens here is now the cosines cross out. Boom, boom. And now I'm left with just x equals. Okay, and then so I rewrite this right side here. And the way I can write it is cosine to -1 power. Okay, parentheses 9 over 15. Okay. All right, and so if you recall from the other day when we were doing trig ratios, okay, in order to get this cosine to the -1 power, remember we press second cosine on our calculator. So you're going to press the second button and then whatever it is, cosine. So I'm going to press second cosine on my calculator. Okay, so you're going to press second cosine on your calculator. Okay, so I go to my calculator and I'm going to press second cosine 9 over 15 divided by 15, and I get an angle measure, okay? So this means that x equals about, it says 53.13, so about 53 is my answer. Now, I know I showed a lot of work there, okay? Now, you don't have to go through that whole step of me, you know, crossing things out on both sides. Okay, so the next one I'm going to show you, just go right to that step of just putting it into that inverse form. Okay, so I'm going to erase all this right now. Okay, and if you guys, if this is going too fast, make sure you stop the sub, okay, and tell him to freeze it, and so you guys can stay up with it, okay? All right, so let me erase all that so I can do the next problem, okay? All right, so on the next problem, same situation, I'm gonna use my reference angle, that's x. I look across from there, okay? And so across from there is 13, and that's the opposite side because it's across from it, okay? And then 20 is your hypotenuse, not your adjacent side, it's your hypotenuse because it's across from the 90-degree angle. All right, so I'm going to start this out again. All right, but this says opposite hypotenuse. So I go to SOHCAHTOA, and I notice that it has an opposite hypotenuse. The only one with O and H in it is so it's sine. So I go sine. Sorry. I go sine. Come on. What is it? Okay, sine. Erase. Okay. Let's try this again. Sine of x. Okay. Equals. Okay. Then I go opposite over hypotenuse because that's the order it is in the sayings. So 13 over 20. Now, instead of doing all that work I did in the last problem, all you have to do now is press second sine, okay? So I'm going to say x equals and I'm going to say second sine on my calculator. So that gives me this inverse. So it goes sine of negative 1 power, okay, of 13 over 20. Okay, so I just, instead of doing all that work, you could just do it right away. You go right into pressing second sine on your calculator, and now you put in that number 13 over 20. Okay, so the second sine, okay, of 13 divided by 20, and you get 40.54, so that's about 41 degrees, because we're rounding it to the nearest degree. So there's your answer for the next one. Okay. All right, here we are on the next problem, the third one. Okay, so I'm doing 3 for you guys. You guys should be able to do 4, 5, and 6 on your own. So just make sure you do those, okay? So on this one, I'm going to go look at the reference angle. Obviously, it is x, okay? So across from x here, I got 6, so that's going to be opposite. And then I also have the hypotenuse side, okay? So I have opposite hypotenuse. The only one with an opposite and a hypotenuse is sine, or the OH up here on the saying SOHCAHTOA. And so I go sine of x equals opposite, which is 6, over hypotenuse, which is 15. Okay, so now I notice x is over there with sine, so I'm going to now press second sine, okay, on my calculator right away. Second sine. And so now when I write it, I go x equals, okay, sine to the negative 1 power, 6 over 15, okay, and that's the way it should say on your calculator, 6, okay, divided by 15. Sorry I'm taking so long, I'm just plugging it in on the calculator now, okay, and so that gives me x equals, so 23.578, so that's going to round up to 24 degrees, okay. So there you go. Hopefully you're now able to do the next 3 problems. Make sure you practice them. But all you have to do for every one of these is do the same thing as yesterday, where we find the sides in comparison to the reference angle. From there, you decide whether it's sine, cosine, or tangent. Once you write that out, now all you have to do on your calculator is press second, whatever it is, sine, cosine, or tangent, and plug in that fraction, and the calculator does the rest. All right, go ahead and do those 3, and then after you do those 3, you have that homework sheet to do, or the worksheet, sorry, to do by the end of the period. It's only 5 problems. It should go fairly quick.